Hey everybody. We just wrapped on session 13, Curse of the Crimson Throne. This is my little after series where I review how things went. Um, that was an interesting one. So, just really quickly to go through the list, I didn't prepare anything because I knew that it was going to be exploration heavy and I didn't really need the stats looking ahead. Sea hag and eels and stuff, it wasn't going to be hard to convert on the fly if I needed to. So I spent quite a bit more time reading the whole chapter, and I was able to sort of intersperse some of the events on the fly, so it felt reasonably natural as they were exploring. Um, I had planned to cause them to discover the plague and sort of describe some of the things that happened, and that ultimately wound up with me leading into several of the events, several of the scripted events, just sort of kind of all at once and all around. Um, the second favor quest with the sick little girl, they wound up doing. They did try to avoid it, but they also tried to avoid everything, and I'll talk about that. And I had pulled the guard out and put them right back. It's sort of underscoring the queen's desperation in the story. So, in that way, it's that's all good. Everybody kind of understands what happened and why that happened, and everybody seems pretty comfortable with all of that. So, um, it pretty much went according to plan. Not too much there, except that we are playing Fantasy COVID, and it feels weird. It really does feel weird. And honestly, um, I I probably wouldn't have run this had I known. There is a natural and honest reluctance to get involved with a plagued city and to touch people that have the plague. And I mean, people are definitely finding it easy to play in character. We'll just call it that. So, yeah, it's really interesting. It's really, really interesting. Hopefully, it remains a good play experience. I think it will, as the party is able to move the ball down the field and actually sort of try and solve this problem. It should be good. Um, as far as the dungeon mastering advice, I didn't force them to engage in the content. I didn't, lock out their options again. If they really wanted to pivot to another city, we could have easily done that. Easily, I say, but readily and without fighting with them about it. But they didn't. I kind of put the hooks out, kind of waited, kind of prompted. There was a point where they were sort of stalled and didn't know which direction to go, so I, you know, re-presented the three hooks that I had already shown them, and everybody genuinely seemed to appreciate that. You know, you could call it railroading if you wanted to, but we're trying to sort of explore this story, and those were the three different on ramps that they had available to them to go and do that. So, all told, good night. Went pretty much exactly as planned. Like I said, I did a lot of reading, but very little fantasy grounds or mechanical prep, and I think it worked out fine. Um, for next week's game, probably will be much the same. There is a dungeon crawl that they could wind up doing, but I honestly, they have to go to Crusetta to get that, and I don't think they will. It sounds like the next encounter may be with the plague doctors and such, so be more and more role playing and investigation and figuring things out and such. Should be fun. Seems like it's been good so far. But yeah, not a whole lot to report on in terms of system conversion or dungeon master issues. Again, they were very reluctant to engage with a plague related story. Didn't force them to. They kind of seem on board. Again, still very reluctant. I haven't gotten any comments from the players about anybody being uncomfortable with anything, so I think we're doing okay. And yeah, I'll keep you posted if anything changes. That's all we got for the after action report. Thanks as always for everybody who's tagged along through all of these. Good night.